The romantic companion, love's dark secret. Maria had always been a romantic at heart, but her recent breakup had left her desolate. Desperate to escape her loneliness, she wandered into a dusty corner of the local library, where she discovered an old, obscure film titled Acompanhante. Intrigued by the cover, which depicted a beautiful couple entwined in a passionate embrace, Maria borrowed the film, hoping it would rekindle her belief in love. That night, she settled into her cozy apartment, the only light coming from the flickering television screen. As the movie began, she felt an immediate connection to the protagonist, Clara, a woman searching for true love. Clara's journey led her to a mysterious man, Lucas, whose charm and allure seemed almost otherworldly. The romance on screen was intoxicating. Maria felt herself being drawn into their world, captivated by the depth of their love. As the hours passed, she noticed something strange. Every time Clara and Lucas shared a tender moment, the room grew colder, and shadows seemed to creep along the walls of her apartment. Despite the eerie occurrences, Maria couldn't tear herself away from the film. She watched as Clara and Lucas's love deepened, but with each passing scene, a sense of dread grew within her. There was something off about Lucas, something malevolent that Clara couldn't see. One evening, as Maria was about to press play on the final part of the movie, she heard a soft knock at her door. She hesitated, the eerie atmosphere of the film still clinging to her. She opened the door to find no one there, only a slight chill in the air. Shrugging it off as her imagination, she returned to her chair and resumed watching. As the movie reached its climax, Clara discovered Lucas's dark secret. He was a supernatural being, cursed to steal the souls of those he loved to maintain his own immortality. The realization came too late for Clara, who found herself trapped in his eternal embrace, her life force slowly drained away. Maria's heart pounded as the screen went black. She felt an icy grip on her shoulder and turned to find no one there. The television flickered back to life, but now it showed her own living room. Panic set in as she saw herself on the screen, sitting in her chair, eyes wide with terror. The figure of Lucas stood behind her, his eyes glowing with a sinister light. Frozen with fear, Maria watched as the Lucas on screen reached out, his hand passing through the television and into her reality. She screamed, but no sound escaped her lips. His touch was cold as death, and she felt her energy being siphoned away. As Maria's vision dimmed, she realized the true horror of Acompanhante. It wasn't just a film, it was a trap, a conduit for Lucas to find new victims. Her last thought was a desperate plea for someone to find the cursed movie and destroy it before more souls could be taken. The next day, the librarian found the DVD of Acompanhante lying on the return desk. She picked it up, unaware of the danger it held, and placed it back on the shelf, waiting for the next lonely heart to discover its dark secret. Part 2: The Unfolding Terror. A week later, Tom, a young man with a penchant for classic films, visited the library. Browsing through the dusty shelves, he stumbled upon Acompanhante. The cover, with its alluring promise of eternal love, caught his eye. Feeling a strange compulsion, he checked out the film and took it home. That evening, Tom settled into his apartment, eager to lose himself in the romance. The film began much like any other, with Clara's quest for love. As Tom watched, he felt a strange connection to Clara, empathizing with her loneliness and yearning. As the movie progressed, Tom started noticing odd occurrences. The temperature in his apartment would drop inexplicably during the romantic scenes, and shadows seemed to dance just out of his peripheral vision. Dismissing these as mere coincidences, he continued watching, his curiosity overpowering his unease. The film's allure was powerful. Tom found himself entranced by Lucas's charm and the intensity of his love for Clara. But as the plot unraveled, a sense of dread grew within him. The scenes grew darker, more foreboding, and the atmosphere in his apartment became oppressive. One night, as Tom reached for the remote to pause the movie, he heard a faint whisper. His heart raced as he scanned the room, finding nothing out of the ordinary. The whispering continued, growing louder, more insistent. It seemed to be coming from the television. Tom leaned in closer, his eyes wide with fear and curiosity. The whispers formed words, echoing Clara's desperate pleas from the film. "Help me, save me, destroy the film." Her voice was filled with anguish, and Tom felt a chill run down his spine. Determined to understand what was happening, Tom continued watching. As Clara discovered Lucas's dark secret, Tom felt a sense of déjà vu. He realized with growing horror that the events of the film were mirroring his own life. The final scene played out, and Clara's fate was sealed as Lucas drained her life force. The screen went black, and Tom's apartment plunged into darkness. A cold hand gripped his shoulder, and he turned to see Lucas standing behind him, his eyes glowing with an unholy light. Tom's scream was swallowed by the oppressive silence. Lucas reached out, his hand passing through the screen and into Tom's reality. Tom felt his energy being drained, his life slipping away. He tried to fight, but Lucas's grip was too strong. In his final moments, Tom realized the true horror of Acompanhante. It was a cursed film, a portal for Lucas to find and trap new victims. Tom's last thought was a desperate hope that someone would destroy the film before it claimed more lives. Part 3: The Eternal Trap. The cycle continued, with new victims drawn to Acompanhante, each one falling prey to its sinister allure. The film remained on the library shelf, its dark secret hidden behind the promise of eternal love. One day, the librarian, Mrs. Johnson, noticed the film had been checked out and returned multiple times in quick succession. Curious and somewhat unnerved by the rapid returns, she decided to watch the film herself. As Mrs. Johnson sat in her living room, the film began, and she felt an immediate connection to Clara. The romance was captivating, but as the shadows crept along her walls and the temperature dropped, she knew something was terribly wrong. Determined to uncover the truth, Mrs. Johnson continued watching, her fear mounting with each passing scene. As Clara discovered Lucas's secret, Mrs. Johnson realized she had to act quickly to break the curse. In a desperate bid to save herself and others, Mrs. Johnson grabbed the DVD and ran to her fireplace. The final scene played out, and as Lucas reached out of the screen, she threw the DVD into the flames. The cursed film crackled and burned, and Lucas's figure faded away, his scream echoing in the room. The oppressive atmosphere lifted, and Mrs. Johnson felt a sense of relief wash over her. She watched as the last remnants of the DVD turned to ash, hoping that the curse was finally broken. The library, unaware of the dark history behind Acompanhante, remained a place of learning and discovery, the horror of the cursed film now just a haunting memory. But somewhere, in another dusty corner, another cursed object lay waiting, its dark secrets yearning to be discovered by another unsuspecting soul.